Good Thursday morning. The last time I was sitting in this chair, I was vomiting into a garbage pail, and then I had to drive home an hour and a half after freshly vomiting in the garbage pail, and then I spent the rest of the time in the bed, and now I've gotten up and I've come to work and I am here and I am feeling good. I don't want to say feeling great, but I am feeling good. And I'm glad to be back. I've got a special gift for Boomer a little bit later today that really inspired me to get in today and make sure that we had some fun on this wonderful Thursday morning. We've got one of the more bizarre stories in sports that I can remember in college sports happening last night that we will get into. And I'm sure plenty of football, because that's all we talk about all year round is football and quarterbacks, and why not? Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Good to see you back, Biggs.
Oh, thank you.
You're looking flush today. So, I think you look good. You look like you lost a little weight.
Yeah, about 4 pounds.
Right. So did you end up getting the drip hydration like I told you, or did you just pass on that?
No, I didn't. I mean, maybe today if I'm not feeling 100%, but I was okay. And I don't know. It was just something about, I was drinking water. I was all right. I didn't get the drip hydration.
All right. Well, I'm telling you.
I'm sure that it's great.
Yes, it is.
I'm not denying that it's great. But it was just, I don't know. I decided against it.
But there's nothing worse than the chills, than the sweats, and then the chills, and the sweats, and then feeling like you got to go, and then then you're prairie dogging on the other end and everything else. It's brutal. And by the way, these guys never heard what prairie dogging was.
Really?
I can't believe I asked each one of them, you know what a prairie dog is? You know what that's all about? And they had no idea.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder why.
Sheltered. I think they're sheltered. I think that's the problem.
I think Eddie knows just about everything, so I'm surprised he wasn't familiar with the prairie dogging.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And, yeah, we are in the middle of, the big question now for us is whether or not we, the New York Rangers, get Patrick Kane.
Oh, that's right.
And I know that we are all in on him right now, and there's a very good possibility he may end up a Ranger. I know he wants to come to New York. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. That would be one hell of an ad, and that would be the last piece I would think that Chris Drury would be able to add to this wonderful hockey team right now. And it may be exactly what they need to be able to beat some of these really, really good teams in the Metropolitan Division. But there is an arms race going on, and it is really exciting. And by the way, your Islanders won last night.
Yep.
And guess who was on the first line last night?
Yeah, Matty Martz.
Matty Martz was on the first line. He had almost 16 minutes of ice time. He's out there killing penalties on the power play. See, you weren't here yesterday, but the other night he made a really good pass to Anders Lee that ended up in the back of the goal. And I said, I immediately go into Lane Lambert's office and start demanding more ice time. And I think that's what's happening. Obviously, what's happening is they're dealing with a lot of injuries, so a lot of guys are being asked to do a double duty. And I will say, and as not being an Islander fan, but watching the last couple games, as I do, because I want to see what Matt's doing and everything else, guys like Kyle Palmieri and Zach Parise, older guys, are blocking a lot of key pucks, man. Guys that age do not want to be doing that stuff, but now you understand why they're playing on the Islanders, because they will do it, and they will sacrifice their bodies. So, good for Matt, and, hopefully they make it to the playoffs, and we got 3 hockey teams around here making it to the playoffs.
That's right, and that will be exciting when we do get to the playoffs. Right now, not so exciting for me, but when the playoffs come, it'll be
exciting.
Great.
It's very exciting.
I said for me, not so exciting.
It's exciting. You know that. You and Sal Licata, the huge Islander fans that you are, I'm sure.
Or you're going to stuff me in an owner's box and feed me and feed me drinks. I'll be happy to do anything.
I just see John Ledecky and you guys hanging out through however long the Islanders stay in the playoffs.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that would be great. And I hope that the Islanders make it as far as humanly possible, and that's a great run for them and everything else.
It brings me up to a point. You think with Jim Dolan, right? So I've known Jim Dolan for years.
Yeah.
And I've been a season ticket holder for the Rangers for years and years and years and years. I actually used to like going to Knick games, but not so much anymore. But do I ever get invited to the owner's box?
No.
No, I don't. But then again, I don't want to get invited.
What are you talking about?
You know why? Because then I feel like I'm being bought.
Well, he's probably surrounded by a bunch of zombies, too. So the owner's box with John Ledecky is great. There's great people in there. People work for him that are absolutely tremendous. There was a Mets night there, so I got to, Steve and Alex Cohen and everything else. And the other times I've been in there, the one other time I was in there, it's just amazing people. The people around Jim Dolan, they have to either have lobotomies or they're zombies.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
I do. Because anybody who wants to hang around with that guy has to have something severely wrong with them.
That's your point of view. view. That's not my point of view. But I will say this, that, it's interesting. For the 16 years that I've been on here,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the only one. Not that, I know that there are guys overnight that talk about hockey, and I know that CeeLo drops it in there every now and again. But I'm the guy that's the mainstream guy that's talking about it constantly. And you guys make fun of me, of course. We've had the Stanley Cup in here. We've had the chocolate Stanley Cup in here. We've had all sorts of fun with it, and we promote hockey.
Yeah.
And we talk about how much we love the sport and how much I love the sport and admire the sport, the guys who play it and everything else. Again, no reciprocation, Now,
what are you looking for?
Now, if
exactly?
I sat there and I ripped into, Gary Bettman or Toronto or, hated the way that the Rangers are doing business or anything else, I'd be hearing about it.
Well, yeah, it's like everything else, though. It's like we were talking about with the Marashes. Like the Marashes' mom hates my guts when I make fun of him, but then all of a sudden I say how good I think he is as a host. I don't hear a thing about it from the Marashes. It's the same thing.
I mean, is there another sports talk program in America, that has two iconic jerseys from two great human beings who played hockey, who are no longer with us, sitting in their studio with the great Rod Gilbert and the great Clark Gillies jersey?
Probably not. You're right. Probably not. But what are you looking for exactly?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. Just maybe a little bit of appreciation.
Just
maybe,
like a text from Gary Bettman?
I don't know. Maybe just a little bit of an appreciation or something.
Bill Daly
thanks for really loving our sport and loving everything about it and
You've
promoting
never
it.
gotten that in all the time you've been on WFAN?
No, I'm getting kind of pissed about it too, honestly, really, when you think about it.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Nah, there's really nothing you can do. I mean, John Ledecky has tried, and I give him a lot of credit.
Yeah.
He sent us jerseys. He's, and I don't want the fish chick jersey and all that other crap. I don't want any of that stuff. Jeff Wilpon has let me have his seats down on the ice at UBS Arena so I could take my granddaughter to a game. That was very nice. I mean, all that stuff was great. But
you're not getting anything.
But I just feel unfulfilled. I don't know what it is.
You know what it is? I think that there is because you're you and everybody assumes you just get whatever you want anytime you want to.
I don't want anything. I don't really know what I want, honestly. And I don't know even why I'm going down this path right now. Maybe it's just because I know everything's getting ramped up now. The players are getting ramped up. The trades are starting to come. And all of this stuff is, it's crazy. Just like for football fans around the trade deadline or baseball fans around the trade deadline or NBA fans around the trade deadline. We've been in this trade deadline now for almost like 3 weeks in the NHL, and major trades have been made.
Sure. And this is definitely gear-up time for the NBA as they're getting ready to sprint to the finish.
And by the way, it started with Bo Horvat and your Islanders.
That's right. Damn right. So
then it was Tarasenko and Mikula for us, and then, of course, it was Ryan O'Reilly and Achari for the Maple Leafs and the Blues, that trade. I mean, it's crazy what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. So,
all right. So now, what do you want to talk about now?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you want me to just pretend like I care till 15 after, I could, but I don't think that would be good radio.
I care about you, and sometimes I would like to think that you care about me and you care about what I...
I know, I gave you almost 9 minutes there, but I mean,
You're actually timing me when I'm talking about
No, I just looked up at the clock that's right here. We started at 6 o'clock.
You're timing me
No.
when I talk about it. I don't ever time you when you talk about your nonsense.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm just saying I gave you almost 9 minutes there. Almost 9. Now it's 9. So I did give you 9 minutes. So it's a fair
You're
compromise.
kind of taking advantage of him because he doesn't have the energy to sort of fight you off.
Yeah, it is. It's sort of what's going on here.
Oh, okay. But I just thought, it's a very important time in the world of the NHL and hockey. And why are you giving me this when I have this? What is this?
Huh?
I don't know what this means here. Is that anything? No, I don't know.
It's probably sat there from the end of the show yesterday.
I don't think so. I have my book with notes in it.
Oh, okay. You got more notes today?
I came with notes today, babe.
You got more notes?
I got a lot of notes.
Wait a second. You got more interesting notes, and you started with Patrick Kane?
Well, Patrick Kane is a superstar in the NHL
I
and
understand
has
that.
won 3 Stanley Cups.
Right,
Stop.
no, I got it. But what are the notes today?
I'm not showing you my notes.
Wow. What? So are you going to share these notes with me?
Well, I'm here to share everything with everybody.
So then why are you not going to let me know about the notes?
When we get to the notes, you'll understand what the notes are.
Okay. All right. So when am I going to hear about these notes?
It depends on what you talk about next.
Okay. Well, now there's what I wanted to do is I was fascinated with what's going on with Alabama basketball.
I have notes.
That's what I was going to talk about, but now I feel like we're too late down the road.
No, I think we're fine. I think I have notes on that, and I think what's going on at Alabama basketball makes you really want to scratch your head and decide who's making decisions down there, and what is the impetus to allow a young man to play in a college basketball game when you feel like he's involved in a murder.
Well, I mean, he is involved in a murder. So, all right, for people who don't know, former Alabama basketball player who was on the team earlier this year but obviously got kicked off of the team, Darius Miles, and his friend from back in Maryland, Michael Davis, were out. They were drunk. They were out in Tuscaloosa. They get into a little bit of an argument with some people. Then Darius Miles texts Brandon Miller, star basketball player at Alabama, who, by the way, last night played and had 41 points.
At South Carolina,
right,
and was getting heckled by the fans.
So they're saying lock him up and everything else. So the reason why they're saying lock him up is because Darius Miles texts, this is according to the police down there in Tuscaloosa, he texts Brandon Miller to bring his gun. Brandon Miller comes down to the scene of where this crime is about to happen, and he brings the gun. He also parks his car in a manner where the eventual victims could not back out. So basically kind of put them in a situation where he was setting them up to be sitting ducks.
Executed.
Yeah, and he gives the gun to Darius Miles and his friend Michael Davis. Michael Davis takes the gun. Darius Miles says there's one in the head, meaning that there is bullets in the chamber. And then Michael Davis goes and he shoots 11 times into the car and ends up killing a 23-year-old mother, Jamia Harris. So now Brandon Miller, according to Tuscaloosa police, cannot be charged with anything because bringing the murder weapon to the scene, parking his car in that manner under Alabama law, there's nothing they can charge him with, which to me is absolute insanity. Absolute insanity. I mean, to go down there, hand the murder weapon, say it's loaded, park your car in a manner where these people cannot get out, and then sit there and have this happen and to say there's no crime at all, there's no accessory to murder at all to this when the other two guys are charged with capital murder. So not only is he not charged, he's playing. And he could be a lottery pick.
Right. So he's right now projected to be the 5th overall pick in the NBA draft this coming draft. And the other aspect about this is that Greg Byrne, the athletic director at Alabama, according to Greg Byrne, new information had come to light in their eyes, and with consultation with the Alabama president, Stuart Bell, and local, lawyers and people like that are around the school, they decided that with this new information that has come to light, and nobody knows what this new information is, the only new information that I could even imagine that would allow this young man to play on the basketball court under the current set of charges and circumstances would be that he was not the one who brought the gun, and he was not the one who drove his car the way he did and parked it the way he did to keep these people trapped to where they were. I mean, if that is not an accessory to capital murder, I don't know what is.
Yeah, well, so we will see if there is more information, but as far as everything goes right now, it was his, I guess there's conflicting reports about the timing of when he had the gun or not, but there's
a text message
yes,
from Darius Miles to this kid Miller, Brandon Miller, and he said, bring me the gun.
Yeah, and that gun was what was used as the murder weapon.
Right, so we always hear about accessories. You always hear about accessories and things of that nature. Now, I'm not saying that this kid should be, guilty of it. What I do think, however, Alabama needs to understand that two of your basketball players are involved in something where somebody was shot and killed,
right?
And the person who ended up shooting into this car over whatever this freaking beef was shot 11 times.
Yeah. Absolutely. And this guy claimed that Davis, who was the friend of Darius Miles, claimed that he was so drunk on tequila he didn't even know what was happening.
It's Michael Lynn Davis is his name. He's the shooter.
Right.
Miles asked Miller to bring the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Miller brought the gun to Miles. Miles gave the gun to Miller. Miller then opened fired into a car and killing a 23-year-old woman who's a mother as well. So I don't know what to tell you. Most times athletes that get themselves in this situation are completely have the book thrown at them, meaning that, you're suspended. We're going to wait until we figure out what the entire story is. But according to the AD, Greg Byrne, and I guess the president of Alabama, Stuart Bell, some new information had come to light over the last 48 hours that they determined exonerate, I guess, Brandon Miller in some way, shape, or form, and that's why they let him play at South Carolina last night.
I just wonder if that new information would have happened if they weren't the number 2 ranked team in the country and he wasn't their best player. That's the question that I have.
And you want to know that is, we as athletes have always dealt with, we get special treatment because we're athletes. Oh, Boomer, you're the quarterback. You don't have to go to class. Oh, Boomer, you're this, you get this. Boomer, you live a privileged life because you play quarterback and all that other stuff. So I understand the mindset from, maybe what you're talking about here, because that's what you're alluding to, that this kid is on the second-ranked basketball team in the country. This kid happens to be is going to be a very high draft choice by somebody in the NBA. And you're thinking that people are looking the other way because of that, and that's why he's able to play.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I just to be able to be the guy where the police have said that he provided the murder weapon. We're talking about a murder weapon, not just in any sort of dispute. The murder weapon came from him, and he said there's bullets in the chamber, and he's out there scoring 41 points against South Carolina last night. To me, it's just mind-boggling. It just is. And Alabama basketball obviously has not had a ton of success. Their football program has. I'm sure that the nil money is helping out in a big way to give them a boost to their basketball
I'm sure
program.
Brandon Miller is making money.
Yeah, I'm sure that he is. So
maybe he can endorse a gun manufacturer now, whatever.
So we will see. We will see if this new information makes any sense to us. But quite frankly, if you're the one providing the murder weapon and you're still allowed to play. And by the way, Nate Oates, the head coach there, did you hear what he said initially about this?
Yes.
Now, I know he came out and apologized after it, but he goes, I can't control everything anybody does outside of practice. Nobody knew what was going to happen. College kids are out. Brandon hasn't been in any type of trouble, nor is he in any type of trouble in this case. Wrong spot at the wrong time.
Not if he brought the gun. If he knowingly brought the gun, why did he bring the gun? He was asked to bring the gun, and why was the gun asked to be brought to these two guys that got themselves in a beef?
Right. Late night while they're out drinking, they're not going to be shooting clays in the parking lot.
My sensibilities tell me that what Alabama should have done is just let the thing quiet down for a couple weeks and get more information before they put him right back on the court. Because if all of this is accurate, now, the one thing I will say, and they'll always argue this, people will always argue this, and I would argue this in the case too, if it were me, is that Brandon Miller has not been charged with anything at this point.
Yeah, I understand, but there's some laws in Alabama that I think are a little strange. When I was leaving there with my gallbladder attack, I saw people walking into the emergency room packing guns.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just a different type of place.
I think it's an open carry state,
yes.
But still, just because you're able to open carry your gun doesn't mean you take it out of your holster and you start shooting 11 times into a car because of some stupid beef.
Right.
I don't know. Who knows what even the beef was about?
Well, apparently it was that the girl wasn't talking to these two guys. Like they were trying to have a conversation with her, and then she sort of brushed them off and didn't want to talk to them, and that embarrassed
so let's blow
them.
her away.
That's what the reporting has
Which
been.
Which makes it even more ridiculous.
Yeah. So
well, I don't even know what I can't even imagine the mindset of somebody saying, "Hey, bring me a gun. I need it because a girl's not talking to me."
Yeah. Well, they're completely drunk out of their minds. So if there is new information on this that somewhat exonerates Brandon Miller and the AD is saying that, let's hear about it, right? Let's hear about it.
I think you would say, hey, this is something that, I mean.
Were you going to keep it to yourself? That's what I don't understand.
Unless they're hanging their hat on the fact that he is not being charged with anything. If they're hanging their hat on, he is not being charged with anything, then that may be, the new information.
Yeah, but to me, just because it's not a crime in Alabama, if that is to be true, that he provided this gun, parked the car there, said there were bullets in the chamber, and they can't charge him with anything because of that, because Alabama's screwy laws, it's just that doesn't mean that he should be playing basketball right now. It just doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of things that people can do that are really bad that aren't crimes that have kicked people out of sports.
You know, we've talked about just that. Jerry and I know have talked about it, and I know you have too. I mean, college basketball fans are ruthless. Mm-hmm. They may be the worst fans in all of fandom. When you go to a game and the things that
right
you
on
hear,
top of you, there's a lot of student section.
And the things you hear. So last night their fans are screaming guilty, 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 and they're screaming lock 'em up, lock 'em up, lock 'em up. And this kid was able to score 41 points at South Carolina last night.